Hey, Jenny. Hey,
Hi,
Colby.
how are
Hey,
you?
Andrea.
Hey, Andrea. Hi, Colby.
Hi.
Hey, Emily. Hey,
Hi,
Sarah.
Emily. Hi, Sarah. I can't believe you're still chugging along, Sarah.
Oh, you're muted, Sarah.
All right. Yes. I am still trugging along somehow. I don't know how, but I'm here.
Are you okay?
I got some nasty viral thing on vacation, not COVID, but it caused me to get an ear infection and a sinus infection. I had pink eye in both eyes, and this ear
Oh my
is still
gosh.
completely blocked. Like I hear nothing out of this ear, and it will kind of go away and then it comes right back.
I am so
So,
sorry.
yeah. What are you gonna do? Second week of grad school, you go. You big G, little O, go.
Well,
And
thank you for
drink a lot
being
of
here.
caffeine.
Yeah.
Is this
All
everyone,
right, I
Denise?
think,
We're good to
yep,
go?
this is everyone.
Okay. Welcome. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we have a new committee member. Louis, do you want to introduce yourself and then we can all go around and introduce ourselves?
So I think I know most people. My name's Louis. I work primarily through the schools. This year I'll be teaching 7th grade math and science. Just came in to keep setting up my room. I also work part-time through Parks and Rec. So most of my experience with the festival has been through Parks and Rec. I think I've been doing our booth in some capacity since 2011. So I've enjoyed the festival for many years. It'll be nice to be on the other side of it and see how it operates.
Well, welcome to the festival committee, and we're excited that you're joining right now. Perfect time. We need
It
people.
felt like the right time to join.
Yes. So just maybe quick introductions. My name's Emily. I'm the manager of operations and collections at the Ballard Institute and Museum of Puppetry, and am currently chair of the festival committee, and I'm on the advisory board. How about Christine?
Sorry, you'd think I'd never used Zoom before, and I used it earlier today. Hi, Louis. I'm Christine Balestrini. I work at UConn and University Communications. I am assistant director of branding, visual identity over there, and a lead designer. And I live in Mansfield, which I think you already know.
How about Sarah? You two know each other, but do the introduction
I was
anyway.
just gonna say, I think Louis joined this committee just because I'm on it, and I'm honored, Louis. I really am. But yes, Louis knows who I am. We've worked together,
Right.
but for the sake of a recorded meeting, Sarah Dufresne, Youth Services in Mansfield, Mansfield mom and Mansfield resident.
Andrea?
Yep. Hi, Louis. You know me as well, both through the community center and working in the schools, but para-educator at Mansfield Elementary Schools. Also a parent in the town of Mansfield, as well as a resident.
Great. Colby?
Hi, Louis. I'm excited to not be the newest member of the committee anymore. My name is Colby Tremblay. I am going to be starting my senior year at the University of Connecticut on Monday, which is terrifying to say out loud. I'm an elementary education major with a minor in English and American Sign Language, and I have an apartment in Willington.
Jenny?
I am Jenny Walton, and I'm the recycling coordinator, and I am a chaplain resident. So, and been on the committee now my second year, but have been with the festival since the beginning.
And Denise?
Yep, and we've met. My name is Denise Kegler. I'm the event coordinator for the Downtown Partnership. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome, Louis. So Denise, I'm thinking there was no public comment.
That's right. No public comments.
And if you haven't had a chance, let's just take a minute to look at the minutes that are in the packet that Denise sent out from August 9th. And once you get a chance, if anyone has a motion to approve,
I will motion to approve the minutes.
thank you. Is there a second?
I will second.
Oh, perfect. We'll go Christine this time. Any comments or edits or points of discussion? No, is everyone all in favor of approving? Great. Wonderful. So getting into the updates, Denise, do you want to kick it off with booth registration?
Yep, yeah, I can work my way through the staff updates here. So the first thing I know I included in the packet, just for your reference, where we are in the booth assignments. So I know it's a little funky to look at. What I wanted to just explain to you what you have, the map, the colored map with the numbers, is the site plan divided into our 4 areas A, B, C, D. And then the following pages are the assigned booths for those locations. So that's kind of how those 2 files work together. The good news, and the other reason I wanted to show you guys this, is that we have filled all of our booth spaces for the year. So there is, so at this point, when people are contacting the office, it's past our extended registration deadline. So the first thing we say is just to let people know, I'm sorry, we're past the deadline. All of our spaces are full, but we will keep you on a reserve list if anyone cancels. If anyone were to contact our office that we really felt we really, for whatever reason, needed to find a way to include, whether it was someone really important from UConn, or like, you know, sometimes those things come up. There are places we could sneak in an additional booth, but at this point, we really are out of room, which is exciting. It shows that last year was really an exception, that people just weren't quite ready to come back to the event, which is why we were had lower booth registration. The other thing with this file, and I will kind of leave this for you guys to get back to me, I've done kind of the way that I go about laying out the booths is I do my first round, I put them out kind of in areas where I think it makes sense to have different groups together, making sure that I don't have similar booths too close together, things like that. So this is not immediate, but if you have a chance and you want to go through this and take a look and send me your thoughts, I'm definitely open to, if you think things need to move around a little bit. So then on to entertainment on my end, kind of thinking about the entertainment around the festival site. So outside of the main stage. So a few things just to give you a heads up. So with UConn coming back into session, I will be reaching out to all of our a cappella groups to ask them to join us again. And this year on Dog Lane there, kind of at the end of Dog Lane where there's that blue A, Kathleen and I kind of talked about this idea, although we're flexible, so we're open, but what I'd like to do is schedule a cappella groups to perform in that spot to draw audience down to the craft booths. So it's sort of without creating a stage, because it is a cappella group, so we'll be able to do it acoustically, kind of without amplification. I'd like to schedule them for that location instead of inviting them just to stroll. So those invitations will be going out this week, sort of by the end of this Friday, to all of the a cappella groups that have participated previously, as well as I have a list of groups that I always reach out to that for whatever reason haven't been able to join us. So maybe we'll get some new groups as well. On the corner of Wilbur Crossway and Royce Circle, our sort of family performance spot, where I know last meeting we talked about trying to come up with a better name for that spot. I have had preliminary conversations with Mansfield Academy of Dance about doing some dancing there, as well as that is where Bruce John and Pete Haddad will be performing, same as last year. In addition, I had preliminary conversations with Valari's Martial Arts about potentially doing some demos there as well. They will be having a booth again this year, so it should be hopefully fairly simple for them from their booth location on Wilbur Crossway to come do some demos in that location. Unfortunately, on Wilbur Crossway, that pink C, that's where we had planned to have Johnny Walker's interactive children's activities. I just found out today that he is not able to join us. He has too many commitments for that time in September. So I've been brainstorming a little bit and I have a few ideas, but this is an area where we may want to bring in additional children's activities. My first thought, kind of one initial addition there, is the partnership has a series of lawn games, and I think this would be a great spot to bring out some of those games to sort of help fill that space. And those are all of my entertainment updates. Kathleen, do you want to check in quickly about main stage entertainment?
Yeah, before I get into that, I thought, Christina, did you have your hand up at one point?
Yeah, I brainstormed some stage names. They're not exciting. Let's keep in mind, I'm a graphic designer, not a creative writer. Main stage is pretty obvious. And then it's hard looking at the map, but I think there's a couple different options. So the one on Dog Lane could be, I know it's not technically a stage, but a performance area, but could be North Stage since it's on the north side, or Dog Lane Stage or Dog Lane Performance Area, whatever you want to call it, keep it obvious. And that way people know exactly where they're going. It's not confusing. And then the same thing for the Wilbur Cross area, because there's a bunch of areas there, so I'm not really sure how many we need, but same kind of idea where South Stage or Wilbur Cross Stage, or you could use both, have multiple names if there's multiple sections. Is there, Denise, is there 4 performance areas over in area D? There's A, B, C, and D, or is it just the blue areas?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I know it's strange looking at it. It really does go with the other file. So I'll walk you through kind of what we have. So A is potentially a performance spot for the aerialist puppetry. That's sort of being held in reserve. We don't have that confirmed. It's just potential. B is something I'll be talking about in a moment, but that is where we're going to be having electric vehicles showcased. C was held in reserve for Johnny Walker, so that's open at the moment. And then D was our performance spot in this section.
I think B could still have, like, that feels like it could be Wilbur Cross Stage area if it's going to be more of the like a showcase. Maybe it's called a showcase. And then you can do like South Stage for area D. If the puppets work out, that, and it's solely going to be puppets, Emily, you can chime in because this is your area of expertise. Maybe it's like the puppetry corner because it's kind of like a little nook. I got nothing for C.
I think if we do have the puppetry where A in area D is, I think it would be good to refer to it. It's actually the June Krish courtyard, and she was a really active member of this committee. So I think it would be good to keep her memory going with the festival and keep that name for this event. But yeah, I think your other ones, you know, the only thing I could come up with for the kids or where Kidsville would be was the kids corner, but we already have the craft corner. So I was like, I don't know if we need 2 corners. And then my other idea was acoustic tent, but then I was like, no one's gonna know what that is. So I like the north and south directional. I think that'll help be a little more self-explanatory.
I actually kind of like the kids corner and the craft corner. I think, like, again, it kind of just describes a general area. I agree with Christine that the Dog Lane Stage should stay as the Dog Lane Stage. You're going to know where that is, okay, that's easy enough. North and south, I'm going to be like, I don't know where that is. I'm not going to pull out my compass. I can't even stand up straight right now with my ear being clogged. But I do know where Dog Lane is. And that's just my thought.
Do we want to add maybe North Dog Lane stage, only because if I hear Dog Lane stage, I'm heading to Dog Lane Cafe, and that from how I'm looking at this is not where the stage is. The stage is at the top, like the top of that road. So I wonder if we almost combine the two, so that a college student who doesn't necessarily know the names of the roads can say, oh, I'm going up from Dog Lane.
Yeah, I mean, not to confuse things further, but it's actually east.
So maybe a Dog Lane adjacent name, so that we have the
Yeah.
Dog Lane, but we also know that it is not at the Dog Lane Cafe.
Upper
Yeah.
Dog Lane. You have to go further down Dog Lane Cafe.
All right, well, I think we have some things we can build off
Yeah,
of.
let's all keep brainstorming it. Keep
No,
working on that.
absolutely. Thank you. Those are good suggestions.
So I think Kathleen, you were gonna give an update on main stage.
Yes, so I do have updates, some of which I will share now and some of which you'll get in an email. Because we have a contract for the headliner, but I did not have sign off on the announcement. So hopefully it'll be this week. I'm waiting to hear back. You know, they have to approve everything before we share it publicly. So I will send you an email with a couple more details, but what we will start with is at 2 o'clock, we have the E.O. Smith Drumline. They're going to help kick things off, and it's always fun to have them come across the street, and they're a very dynamic sound. Some of the timing of the rest of this is still to be worked out, as I'm waiting to hear back from folks. But we do have the puppet pageant, which Emily and her staff are working on. We have the puppet building workshops will be September 17th and 18th. And then people participate in that, and then possibly others will perform as part of the pageant. And can we share the theme, Emily? It's
think so.
pond. Go ahead, you do it.
Oh, yeah. We wanted to do an underwater theme, and Kathleen, as I guess the resident expert on Mansfield ponds, is helping us kind of focus on local ponds and the ecosystem within ponds. So it'll be really fun to create some oversized underwater puppets with Sarah PD, a puppeteer out of Boston.
Yes, I think that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So you're all invited to come and build. Yet to be determined stages of frogs, life cycle, who knows? We also have the Yukon Swing and Blues Club participating, and this is going to be a really fun addition, I think, to the square. So this is a student organization, but they are also really focused on the greater community in Mansfield and beyond. So their meetings, I guess, are open to everyone, and they take place at the Storrs Congregational Church. And what they do is they teach swing dance and then a section on blues dance. So they will be on the stage and they're going to give a 20-minute lesson, and then we'll open it up for dancing. So that'll be about 45 minutes, maybe a little longer. I'm going to meet with them next week, and we're going to kind of like figure out the layout of the stage. But I think this will be a really fun intergenerational, interactive addition to the, so it's a little bit more dynamic. Yeah, so those are the updates I can share right now, and stay tuned in your email.
I've been to one of their meetings on campus, and they're really fun, and you can go in as a complete novice, not knowing anything, and they teach you some of the basic steps, so they're fun.
That's awesome. Well, I'll be checking my email all week to find out more about that main stage act. I can't wait. Denise, the electric vehicle showcase, is that what I'm thinking EV is? Did I?
Yes, that is correct. So that's what EV is. So last month's meeting, I referred to it as an electric vehicle rally. They prefer the term showcase. So I met with our organizers. I do just want to clarify, it was my own misunderstanding, although some of the organizers work with Joshua's Trust. This is not Joshua's Trust putting on the electric vehicle showcase. So it is a group of Mansfield citizens. There are several different electric vehicle organizations that they're sort of in partnership with, but this is really coming out of 2 individuals within the community helping to organize this. So they will be on site from 2 until 4 in that back half of Wilbur Crossway. The showcase will feature between 4 to 7 electric vehicles. And their goal is really to really help people get familiar and sort of discuss what ownership of an electric vehicle is like. So we'll be describing it as a essentially meet oh boy, I'll have to find the exact language, but it's something along the lines of meet real owners of electric vehicles from the community and discuss what it's like to own an electric vehicle. So that has moved to Wilbur Cross Lane way. So one thing you might notice is that on this new site plan, there is not a cornhole tournament in that location. So this is where I wanted to give you guys just a brief update. So Kathleen, Cynthia, and I internally have met with the partnership to talk about the new elements of the festival and thinking about bringing these into the event and promoting them as part of the event. And one of the things that we came into as we were thinking about this is having 2 new contests, both a Scarecrow Contest and a cornhole tournament, is a little bit more than we have the capacity to promote without it getting confusing. So from our end, what we and I'm sorry to lay it out like this, but we just have made the decision that this year we're going to start with the Scarecrow Contest and promote that, and then bring in the cornhole tournament in the future. I think we have really good foundation for how to bring that in. We just didn't feel that we could effectively do both from our organization. One of the things
I was just going to say,
Go
I
ahead.
think even moving forward, if we know this far in advance, we could reach out to the Yukon Cornhole Club team now and say, hey, if you guys want to do this for next year, we'll give you an area, but you got to do it. I think, if they're interested, then they can, and then it's less manpower for us. And yeah, you have to do with what's within your capacity, and don't apologize for that.
To build off of that, Denise, I know you mentioned finding an area for those lawn games. Would there be an area to have the cornhole board set up? Just I know that they have been a big hit at the movie night, so if we could find a spot for them, even if it's not anything orchestrated, but just the boards and the bags, I think they've been very successful at the movie nights.
Absolutely. I completely agree. When Kathleen, Cynthia, and I met, we discussed possibly having them down near the dining area on Dog Lane. I actually am going to recommend, now that we know Johnny Walker will not be in the children's area, I think that might help activate that space, because the families are often looking for something physical to do in that area. And we do currently have 3 sets of cornhole reserved, so we can set them up in this area for play. It just wouldn't be an official tournament. In regards to the Scarecrow Contest, to sort of come back to that in my staff updates. So this is something we are actually going to start promoting fairly soon. With this, I know the last time I met with you guys in July, we talked about keeping these up long-term into Halloween. That was a little bit more, this is coming back again to capacity and thinking about trying to go 100% the first year. We thought that was a little bit more than is realistic for our experiences in the downtown with the culture of students in this area. So what we are hoping to do, what the goal is this year, is to have the Scarecrows set up for the festival and taken down on Sunday. However, the thing that I actually had forgotten, Kathleen was great to sort of remind me, and sort of we came back to at the Winter Welcome this past year. One of the observations we made is that the community really wanted to vote in person. They did not want to, with our tree contest, see the trees and then go online and vote. So what we'd like to do for the Scarecrow Contest is have on-site voting at the Mansfield Downtown Partnership booth. So that is kind of where we thought we could effectively bring this program this year. I see
Where-
lots of
think that's
nodding, which is good.
I think that's a great idea because having gone to the winter welcome and trying to vote, it was incredibly frustrating and didn't work. And I really wanted the Southeast tree to win.
And where will the scarecrows be displayed? Is that on this map or is that not on this map?
It is not because it is flexible. So the
Okay.
scarecrows are, again, this is sort of simplifying for this year to really make sure that we can bring something, to make sure that we can make it happen. We plan to have them zip tied to light posts. So there is a lot of flexibility on where they can be presented. The only light posts that can't be used is if they have other signage. So it is on my list. I don't have an exact walkthrough of all of those lampposts, but there are quite a number that can be used. So it depends on the number of people that sign up for the contest.
One thought about this. So the people tend to walk, well, I guess they walk on both the sidewalk and down the road. But if they're on a lamppost, will they kind of be obscured by the booths during the festival? Or are you going to place them strategically so there isn't a booth abutting?
There will
the
be,
lamp?
yeah, there will be booths on the in the parking spaces and on the street side. So I do think it's a good point that they're going to have to be angled in such a way that they are facing the sidewalk, which is, there are still logistics to be finalized. So I can just say that's not something that I have in detail yet, but yeah, they will have to be facing the sidewalk as opposed to facing the booth side.
Right. We'll also have to think about numbering and labeling and whether that is something that we provide or if people submitting are given a number. And then on here, do we have a booth spot for the festival, for the Downtown Mansfield Partnership? Because I wonder if we want to make sure that the voting is in a centralized location, or if not, have like if it's a voting ticket, have those provided by maybe a couple different booths could have the voting tickets around if people enter from, one of the 4 kind of entryways.
Yeah, absolutely. No, great questions. So on your site plan, the Mansfield Downtown Partnership booth is 1C. So it's right at the entrance on Royce Circle across from CVS. So it is, I tried to put it fairly central, and that is also something Kathleen and I have talked about, is including that location on any of the maps that might be displayed throughout the event. So we do have these maps that show where the stages are, where the bathrooms are, kind of the general outline of the event. So this is somewhere that would be included on that map.
And I think what we talked about too is on the signs, like what we did for Winter Welcome was we made a little sign for each tree. So we'll probably do something like that similar for the Scarecrows, and on it tell them where to vote. With the trees, they were all displayed together. So we also had like an A-frame that explained it. I don't know that we'll do that if we're spreading them out, but I think part of the location is going to have to wait till we see how many we have, because we could, there's bump outs around like each parking spot section, so that those are forward, for lack of a better word. And so we could have them, depending on how many there are, maybe they're just on the bump outs of the sidewalks. Or maybe if it's, depending on the number, we decide we just want to ring the square with them because, there's not booths around there. So we'll have to be a little flexible, I think, with that part. But
What if
that's a good
could
point.
we use the space by the former Geno's, like underneath where the tables and chairs are, to display them? And then they're kind of all closer together.
So
I would,
How would they be
go ahead.
propped up though? Are
I'm just trying to think like other towns, they have to be creative on how they prop them up. So a lot of people bring their own hay bales and they're finding ways to attach them to PVC pipes and whatnot. And that's the whole fun of building it as a family, is you have to get super creative and find a way for your scarecrow structure to stay. I don't know. I'm just trying to think that, like, I love the idea that they would be scattered throughout, but I do think it would be lost the day of the festival. I think it would be really neat on Sunday to come through and stroll through with your family and look at all of them. But I don't think we would get as many votes.
So, so folks have to install them themselves. Was that correct, Denise? They're gonna install them themselves. I don't know. I kind of like Kathleen's idea of putting them in the square. I guess I'm just anticipating not a lot of people volunteering. And I don't know, it just feels nice because you have 195, and I know we don't want to keep them up for that long, but it would be nice to have them up for like Thursday through Sunday at least, and then people see them as they drive by. I mean, I like seeing the ones in Coventry when I drive by, and it's nice to have them up. I feel like if they're in the square, they're less likely to be vandalized by people.
I know. I was even thinking, like, when EO has the Christmas trees that they sell. I mean, then I know we would be like across the street, but I was like, maybe less likely at a high school.
I think the community center did a Scarecrow contest last year, maybe the year before. And to Christine's point, I think they advertised it pretty extensively, but they only got 3 or 4 scarecrows submitted. So I think the combination of having them in a central place might make it feel like you're not missing any scarecrows if there are only 3 that you see. And I also think it would reduce vandalism chances.
Yeah, no, I think these are all really kind of essentially a lot of the same points that we've talked about sort of internally when Kathleen, Cynthia, and I met. So one of the things in the current form of the Scarecrow registration application, it does say it needs to be self-supporting. And then it explains that display will have them zip tied to a light post, or I think I might have just said a post. So other towns that I've looked into with this utilize a sort of like a post or a garden a metal post that they provide for people to attach their scarecrow to, or they provide a large area for them to create this, create their own, whether it's hay or some sort of a stand for it. As far as area on the sidewalk, we are a little bit limited because we need to make sure that there is still enough passage for ADA accessibility. So that was one reason we tried to move away from freestanding bases. I do think it's interesting. I mean, sort of around the conversation, I do think just from a making the biggest impact around the square, I would agree. I think that that would make the biggest impact for where we were placing them.
Great. So Denise, do we need to review this document at all? It looks good to me. Is that ready to kind of start publicizing?
Yeah, I just wanted any final thoughts before we move into the public, the marketing of this, before we start getting the word out there.
I see Colby.
I just guess if we do end up going with putting them in the square, which I think is a really great idea, would the wording have to be changed? Like, would they still be on a pole in the square? Would it be something that they have to now provide fully, that they make their, you know, if we are deciding on the square, we could then say they'll be displayed in the square, but then do the people making them now have to come up with a way for it to be displayed, or are there poles in the square that could be used?
My own thought is I would still continue to use light posts, just use the light posts around the sidewalk around the square. But I'm flexible, but that's just, I mean, this is trying to make sure that this is something that can.
So for the Pride Festival, we had those beautiful murals where people could do the photo things and they were like almost like, I don't know, frames, I guess. Would that be something? I don't know if that's something we have on hand that we could put those frames up and people can attach to those frames. And then they're visible in one kind of row. We're not.
Those frames are super flimsy. Those came from our office, and thank you. I drew all those wings. That was such a fun project. But yeah, so those are super flimsy. The only thing I'm thinking is I think, to Colby's point, I think we can provide certain lampposts for some people, but I'm thinking like, what if somebody did one sitting down? I know I drove by one last year that was like a Harry Potter on a trunk, and they actually had attached the Harry Potter to a trunk. So they brought the trunk and sat the Harry Potter on it. And then they didn't need a light post because the trunk became like the base of the Scarecrow. So I think like, if we keep them in the same area and we keep the wording the same, that it must be self-supporting, we have to assume that some families are going to figure out their own base for this. And then, I don't know, I think that we could provide details as we, maybe images of like what they look like, suggestions, I don't know. And I mean, I know that most people do it literally with PVC pipe and a piece of plywood, and then you just kind of attach your Scarecrow to it. And if we're looking for organizations or families or larger groups to do it, I think that is doable. I think it's just the way we market it.
So is it helpful to just delete that for display? They'll be zip tied to a signpost in the downtown stores.
I would say they must be self-supporting.
Yeah, I'm just thinking you could just keep that sentence.
If you need a post to secure it to, please let us know. Because Denise, just like when you did the trimetry, you said, if you need your own lights or if you need access to electricity, you have to let us know ahead of time. So I think putting that wording in there is okay. I think anyone that would be standing and might topple over, it makes sense to attach them to a post. But I'm thinking if families automatically do something that's lower to the ground or secured to a base already, then they wouldn't need that.
That's a great suggestion. And I think that's an easy change, is saying that posts are available. Scarecrows can be zip tied to posts in downtown. I'll find a way to phrase it, but if needed, that it's available.
Yeah,
if needed.
You could word it as like, we encourage you to make your own freestanding Scarecrow, but if you need to secure your Scarecrow to a pole can be provided if you let us know.
Any other questions or comments on the Scarecrow decorating contest rules and registration form? No, okay. That's great. Were there any other staff updates, Denise? It looks like that was the last one on that list. So.
Yep, nope, that's all I had.
Great. We'll jump to Ginny. Do you have any low waste updates?
I have the forks and spoons. I am informed by Eastern Highland Health District of the protocol. Since they are wrapped, they do not need to be pre-washed. And I have, let's see, I just need to connect with Denise and Kathleen about signage for the food vendors and, lining that all up. So I think we're good to go here. And yeah.
So Ginny, I just wanted to jump in when we were discussing like in the past about the bowls and things like that. My son's heading off to college, and I don't know if you've ever seen these, but I have them here. We picked up, these are like plastic bowls, and they are dishwasher safe, they're microwave safe, they're saying PBA free. I paid 38 cents for this. They also had plates, and it seems to be specifically made for Target. And I was just wondering if you've ever like considered, if we want to go with this route, maybe like contacting their direct offices. Because I'm wondering, I'm sure for the town, they may be willing to do some sort of deal or tax break or something. If you wanted to consider that for next year versus the wooden ones. that weren't overly dishwasher safe?
Well, there are dishwasher safe wooden ones, the particular, and I tried out the woven wood one at the senior center, and it went through the dishwasher five times. So but yeah, so when I brought it to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, the one thing that was a consideration, to tell you the truth, what are the glues that are used for the woven wooden bowls? I mean, it's unknown, right? But was the toxicity of some of the plastics that we were unwittingly, eating off of, or eating, that are holding our food. And so there was some issues about that.
Okay.
And so, kind of depends on what kind of plastic it's made from. And sometimes that information is not easily found.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that was, but yeah, it's worth looking into. I mean, we are,
Yeah,
yes,
Figured maybe it was like another option to consider for next year.
yes, 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 agreed.
Well, it's exciting that we're at least making some headway with the forks and spoons. That's great. And they're going to
Yeah.
arrive in time.
They're here.
Oh my
They're
God.
behind me. These boxes here.
So exciting.
Silverware,
Nice.
spoons. Yeah.
Wow, we're ready to go.
And just to
Yeah.
confirm, the bowls and plates are something that's feasible, just need to be ordered further in advance because of stock issues? Was that?
It was a supply issue. So, yeah.
Right, but I think that's good that we have that kind of situated and have gone through the protocols to say, as soon as we confirm for next year that we want them, we can go ahead and, get that ball rolling so that, we've taken the steps of, are they safe and are they healthy and does everybody approve? I think that's a great place to.
Yeah, metal is a safe bet, the metal forks and spoons. I will say that there's a new food service director, but I did talk to the new superintendent of schools and said, we had this okay from the previous food service director to use the dishwasher. Is anything going to change? He's like, no, just remind me. So I'm counting on that being an all go, and the dishwashing will be done Monday after the festival.
That's great. Great. Thank you, Jenny. Any volunteer updates from Sarah and Andrea?
I do. So I got the ball rolling on these volunteers. I reached out to, I sent an email today and I reached out to pretty much all the organizations that Denise had sent me. I did it literally right before I left. So I haven't even checked to see any of their responses, but we have had individuals from UConn reach out asking, saying, hey, I want to volunteer. The other thing I did is that I reached out to the Office of Community Outreach at UConn. And I just said, hey, like, what do you guys use to spread information to students? Like, what's the easiest way to put out that we need volunteers? Is there a Facebook page? Is there a something? And I'm hoping that we can go through that avenue to kind of just, in Kathleen, having a form that people could go on and sign up for, I think is genius, because then you're committing to that time slot. It's going to fill up at a certain point. We're going to know when times are needed. So once I get that kind of, if you have that rolling on the webpage, I'll link that webpage to all of that communication, just so, and then I'll blast it out through different channels through UConn.
What I would just caution, Sarah, is if they point you in the direction of the Daily Digest, which I'm sure they will,
Okay.
know that it is colloquially called the Daily Delete by students. So we just have to be aware. What I will say in regards to that is I'm the president of TISA, which is the Teacher Education Student Association. So every one in the NEAG program is in that. So in addition to you getting that link, if Kathleen, when you have that set up on the website, if you can email it to all of us, I would happily share it through TISA as well.
Look at this. Look at this lady.
Amazing.
She's amazing. Amazing. So yeah. And
Well,
that
the
was kind of-
form's not there yet. The form's not
Okay.
there yet. That'll go up tomorrow because I just
Yeah.
got it this afternoon. But
that was kind of
if
my
you can
hope.
use that link.
Yep, with reaching out to community outreach was like, even if they won't direct me to a certain area, they can forward it to their contacts, and community outreach is huge. I mean, they serve so many different amount of people on campus. So I think that within the next week or two, I think that we will really probably be at full capacity. The rest of the students move back this weekend, and then everybody kind of just starts. They start their fall journey of trying to figure out volunteer hours. So I think this is when Andrea and I will be the most busy. I think we're trying to kind of keep everything organized, but I think we're looking good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just say, even if you can specifically tell them that you're interested into getting it into the different community organizations, they might be able to send that to like executive board. Like I get different emails being on an executive board, so they might be able to send it that way, versus if they just generally put it in the Daily Digest, it might kind of get lost in the mix of things.
Okay, I would still put it on the Daily Digest, Colby, because
100%.
every once in a while, there's a student that reads it and it pays off. So
100%. I'm not anti Daily Digest. I'm just saying, as if that's your only option,
it doesn't get you very far.
finding others.
Yeah, and
We do promote the festival in general through the Daily Digest, both the staff faculty version and the student version. And actually all of the town news kind of filters through me. So I can set that. So I will wait until I have the form actually on the webpage. I do anticipate getting it up tomorrow, but just in case I don't, and then we'll kind of check in, maybe Sarah and Andrea, about how many people you need per slot, so we can and I can have it be like auto-populating a Google form or something where the three of us can access it. And then kind of like know when to cut off, because if we're getting like too many at setup, and you have what you need, but you need more people for cleanup, then I'm just going to take setup off the options. So I'll just need to kind of get an idea from you guys, how many you think would be sufficient. And then I also need to
I would
kind of
honestly
balance.
almost bounce that question back to you guys as to, I think last year we knew that what we had for setup was too many. And I think that was like over 100. So I think if we had like 50 per time slot, I think that that's doable if we have the 4 areas sending, even 50 to 60, but I'm thinking no more than 80 per time slot. I think that was just too much.
Yeah, I think one problem last year was we had a couple groups who Denise, correct
They
me if I'm
brought the
wrong, but
whole
they said
group.
they'd send 10 people and then like 40 people came.
Yes.
So-
Yeah. Agreed.
But I will have to kind of like balance all the different messages that we're going to be sending out through the Daily Digest in the next couple of weeks, because I also have to do one about like a road closure and stuff. So I'll kind of like map that out and let you guys know when to look for it.
And I would
Good.
just say, I think that number of 50 per, that's such a nice round number. Like I love that as a cutoff. And just so that we do have the expectations that we know going into it, though, the evening shift, that cleanup shift, is not one that we have traditionally had many people sign up for. I know in the last since 2019, it's something I had to really specifically push and make requests for people to help us with that cleanup section. So just something for us to be aware of. And
But I think
for
it's
Andrea
nice.
and Sarah,
Okay,
I was just gonna say, I'm a resource in the office too. So I know it's gonna be a lot with volunteers. So I'm definitely, it's not, I don't want you to think that I'm not helping with this. I'm here to help with this as well.
And I was thinking that at least having that cutoff now makes it so that we can say like, thank you for wanting to volunteer. We don't have any more slots available in the morning, but we have this really exciting cleanup spot that you can help out with, rather than like letting people have kind of all of the control over when they volunteer. So hopefully that'll kind of push some people to the evening if they really want to get those hours for their group.
Yeah. And I was just thinking too, how usually if we get food donations, we feed the volunteers in the morning. Let's save those for our nighttime volunteers. We'll bribe you with food. You come and clean up and get fed.
I was just thinking that, Sarah. I was like, is there some kind of like incentive we can do for the late night, like dairy bar, coupon
Say like
or
dairy
something?
bar or insomnia cookie. Will they do something?
Love it.
Mooyah gives
and-
us a ton of coupons, so you can
Actually-
Mooyah coupons.
Insomnia, I think you email them for donations, but they've donated every year to the egg hunt and they do huge platters of cookies. So that's definitely
I
an
think that'd be cool.
option. Let's feed them.
Great.
And that's-
Any other
and
volunteer?
what-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Denise.
No, I'll be super quick. What we've traditionally had is sandwiches from Subway, and that's kind of at the start of the festival, that it's there for the volunteers. So it might be good sort of to think of in addition, because Subway's been really great about donating that. So we'll have sandwiches from Subway and then something else for that later shift.
Great. Any other volunteer updates? Hey, how about poster distribution list and sign up?
So this is something that is still a little bit in development. So I would say that second half, we're not going to sign up tonight, but we are going to be sending this out by email to this group within the next few days. And we ask you, Kathleen and I are going to work out a deadline for when we'd like you to get back to us. But what I'm going to do is I'll just share my screen to give you an idea of the locations that we've had in the past. Oh man, I have too many things open. There we go. So this gives you an idea. Our office generally has covered distributing posters in the downtown within this area, and especially right now with Josh, our administrative assistant. He's really great about helping with this poster distribution. I'm just going to scroll down here. These are areas within the town of Mansfield, other businesses outside of the downtown that the committee has helped us to bring posters to previously. One of the things that Kathleen and I talked about today is that we are short on locations in other surrounding towns. So thinking about community locations in Coventry, Willington, Willimantic, Ashford. Sorry, I'm just going to my list. And Tolland, Coventry, Willington, Willimantic, Tolland, and Ashford. So if anyone has any ideas of somewhere where you've seen community posting or somewhere that you think would just be a great place for us to post a festival flyer or poster, this is kind of open to that conversation as well.
I'll just add on, there are, we have the food co-op on the list. One thing I'll just say is like, you don't have to limit yourself to these towns that she just mentioned if there's other places, but I will need to, in terms of ordering them, we need to get the order in. So like, that's why we need to have a cutoff for at least the ideas of where you want to go, because I need to place that order to get it printed and everything. So, okay, sorry, Jenny. Yes, the food co-op.
What about the cupcake place and the bakery on Main Street in Willimantic, the tattoo parlor, the not Cafe Mantic, what's it called now?
Stone Row.
There's also the Willimantic Company.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
really nice in there, so.
Willie
Yeah.
Brew.
We have Willie Brew and Stone Row. Christine, does the cupcake place have like a community bulletin board? I haven't been in there. That's sort of what we're looking for.
I
For some of these
feel like they
places.
do. They definitely have like a board in there where people put business cards up. So I'm pretty sure they have, like, I feel like there is. The bakery might not. I've honestly only been in there once, but their sourdough donuts are amazeballs.
Are you talking about Canberra or the Pond
Yes,
of
Canberra. So good.
Do you have like the Willimantic Library on there?
What about
Nope,
the
so that's-
community center? Would that be
Yeah, the
weird?
community center.
Or the rec center. I think it's right attached to the community center.
Yeah. See, it's like a senior center and community center. Yeah, it's nice.
So you'll send us
I haven't
this
been in that
list
yet. Is it?
and
is
a
it good?
deadline? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying I haven't been in the new community center yet. But that's a good one. and you asked if, we'll send this list out, I think, and then if you can email us back with some ideas too. And I'm sorry, Denise, if I'm messing up your thing, but I just started remembering, like, I gotta get the order in. So I just need to know like how many of different things to order. So we have 3 sizes, and you can kind of see some of them on my back wall. So we have like an 11 by 17. Then we have an 8.5 by 11, which is just like a flyer size. And then we have a rack card. So if it's a place that, has, like, in our downtown, all the businesses will display our 11 by 17, but not every business has a place like that. I mean, for us, they're going to do that, but like when we're going around. So if you know that it's like I'll give Toast 4 Corners as an example, they have a very limited space. So we'll probably just put like a rack card rather than the full poster there. So if you can add in that information, that's helpful too, so that we're not trying to put like 11 by 17 over somebody's business card.
And this is just to review ideas and brainstorming. You guys are going to email us. And what was that deadline we just mentioned?
I didn't give an actual date.
Do you want to just put it in the email when you send us the list?
Yeah, let's do
That
that.
would be okay. Perfect. Okay, just because I know we want to try to wrap up, we have review committee day of assignments.
So this is just for my own record keeping, thinking about setting up the event and sort of organization of some of the different activities that we're doing. I just wanted to make sure that I was on track with what people were planning to do, because I know a bunch of people are going to be area captains. Can we just quickly kind of go around and say if you have an assignment, or if you don't have an assignment, or if you're not going to be able to make it that day, just sort of say so that we know kind of what your plan is.
Great. I think I'm at the headquarter booth. So I believe, I don't know if that's an area captain position or not. Andrea maybe would know, but I'm thinking I'm resuming headquarter booth and I can be there all day. How about Ginny?
So I'll be setting up probably around 8 in the morning, the waste stations, and we'll have 3 booths to make sure that everything's set up, and we'll be managing the waste, composting, recycling, return utensils for the day, and then we'll be cleaning up at 6. So I'm there from like 8 to 6.
Great. Colby?
I believe I became a section leader. I'm not fully aware of what that entails or what times I can be there all day. I will just need an update on what my responsibilities are and what times I would need to be there.
And does that mean area captain?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we now have like section captains within the area, maybe it's.
I believe I'm an area captain is the last.
That's very exciting.
Recruiting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've been promoted.
Yes. Andrea.
So yeah, area captain as well as like the headquarters section there, and getting that decorated prior to the event. I have to speak to Sarah for the most part because my husband's company is generously doing a company outing for 3 days up in Vermont. And it happens to be the Wednesday to Friday right before the event. So I'm going to be out of state right before, but we'll obviously be here early on Saturday. But she's got the actual list of area captains and things like that to know for sure. And I know that we've got a number of people, but yes, that's what we will, or my position will be doing.
Great. Louis, do you want to pick a role?
Sarah had already talked me into being an area captain.
Great.
But my one contingency was not area D where the community center booth is, because they want me to run their booth.
I was like, is there anything that I should be trying? Oh, I was so scared.
I don't want to end up doing double duty. So
That's fair enough.
Denise, could I actually just jump in quick? I know somewhere you had mentioned that there are decorations available in the town hall. Do you know where I can access those?
Yes, I will coordinate you. I will send an email right after. So we have in the Nash Zimmer Transportation Center in our storage area, we have several bins of festival supplies, including decorations.
Perfect. All right, so you and I'll coordinate that.
Yep.
Perfect, thank you.
Wonderful. And Christine, are you out of town? Now I can't remember.
Yes, I was not paying attention to dates when we decided on.
That's
when we
okay.
did this.
It's a busy time of year.
But I will be there with you all in spirit.
Well, right. I mean, I think especially in naming all these performance areas, we'll think of you now. That was great effort. So Denise, is that helpful with the volunteer?
It is
Day of
helpful. So
assignment?
what I'm going to, just so that you guys know for our next meeting, I am just going to lay out our committee schedules, just so you guys can kind of see what they look like. It's not something set in stone, but I think it's good for everybody to know. These are kind of long days, so I don't want to make anyone feel like they have to come super, super early in the morning and stay really, really late. But I'll have those schedules for the next meeting.
Wonderful. So if there's nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn? Perfect. How about a second? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, I think everyone wants to go. So we will wrap this meeting up and our next meeting is September 13th. But in the meantime, we are going to all look for that list of businesses and add to it. And we'll find out when the due date is.
And also stay tuned for an entertainment email.
Yeah. Can't wait.
And then Denise, are we staying on? Or? did we pretty much
So
cover
I
what
am
you-
all, yeah, I'm all set. The big conversation I wanted to have was about those shifts. So we kind of emailed about that earlier. So thank you.
Perfect, you're welcome.
Wonderful. Well, we'll see everyone in September.
All right.
Have a good evening.
Have a good-
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much.
And Denise,